to the Enlightenment Sangha. We are dedicated to the enlightenment process. I don't particularly see us as a religious organization, but a spiritual movement. It is my belief that you can attain enlightenment in this life. It's just my belief. I think it's a good one. Why not? You can be very sound asleep, very deep, deep sleep, and a noise comes or something, and suddenly you're awake, just like that. It didn't take long to wake up. Sometimes, though, when you're waking up by yourself, it can take a while. You keep hitting the snooze button, sleeping a little longer. You set your alarm for an hour early so you can keep hitting the snooze button. My teacher said, I'd be a little off the subject, but he said once that he says, how you wake up in the morning is how you are facing and waking up to enlightenment. And he encouraged us to set our alarm with some sort of a nice musical tone, like, Good Day Sunshine or something like that. That kind of dates me a bit, I know. But, a nice happy song, and start your day out with a song on your lips. Why not? It's a choice you make. People make these choices all the time. They make the choice and they declare with a great deal of conviction, I'm not a morning person. Well, when you say I am, you've already said it, haven't you? I am. And whatever comes after that is what you're stating who you are. So I am not a morning person is setting you up for not waking up instantaneously. I think you really ought to realize at some point that you're not anything. And that's the glorious part. You're beyond this. You're spirit. I see a lot of stuff going on in the world today, and this is nothing new. There are people who create little tribes, little groups, and they'll have a leader, political or religious or whatever, and they get in that little tribe and they say, this is us against the world. We've got it right. Our leader tells us everything we need to know, and we don't need to listen to anybody else. And anyone else that's different is the enemy. And what this kind of attitude has, this creates a sense of separation, of duality, a sense of aggression and defensiveness. It's just not a good operating system. And I don't teach that. I believe enlightenment is everywhere if you look for it in the right way. You have to look for enlightenment, though, with the idea of opening your eyes, of actually seeing something that you didn't want or didn't think was there before. Maybe you didn't want to see it. All right, now move beyond rationality here for a little bit. So I'm going to raise the consciousness just a little bit, okay? There we go. See how easy that was? Meditation. If you're with me right now, you're able to just stop your thought. And when you stop your thought in meditation, you come to a realization that you're not non-physical. You start become aware of your non-physicality, that spiritual aspect of your being. And in the beginning, it may be that you start noticing it in different parts of your body, you know. Different chakras have different feelings, different ways of looking and perceiving. Pretty soon you even move beyond that. Stop your thought. What we're trying to do when we meditate is to dissolve the self. That's the egoic self, the I. I'm trying to dissolve the I and just be. So when we stop our thought, we're stopping the ego just for a little bit. Now the ego really puts up a fight, right? You're stopping, and then the ego is suddenly looking around for something to keep it physical. An itch on your nose, or you need to clear up my throat a little bit. There's always something. You know, a thought comes back, a memory of something that happened back when you were 12 years old, or something somebody said to you earlier in the day. Watching the news. Oh my God, what's going on now? Well, I'll answer that last question. What's going on now is an awakening. All of humanity is moving into a new level of being at this moment, right now. And there are lots of enlightened teachers here to help us. I'm not the only teacher around. There are others, many of them much more powerful and much more enlightened than I am. I'm okay with who I am. But I'm not alone, and neither are you. There's a change going on in the world right now. And in order for that change to happen, the old had to crash, and then the new has already started. And the new one has already started. You can already feel, I don't know if you can, but I can feel the energy of what's coming. It's pretty awesome. It's going to be difficult. People are having to deal with life differently. But if things work out well, there will arise out of these ashes a new way of being with each other, a sense of connectedness. There are those that are choosing during this moment of transition to go with the old way. The old way is very capitalistic. It's me and mine, don't you touch my stuff. And I don't want to have to pay any taxes. If I pay taxes, good for me. I mean, I should probably figure out a way to not do it, though. To a different way of looking at things. A way of thinking, for instance, in the way of taxes. And I'm happy to pay my taxes. If I pay income taxes, that means I had some income. Some people don't. Where does my income go? Where do my taxes go for? Well, they go for the things that I like. Schools, roads, policemen, firemen, maybe some healthcare, education. I mean, there's all kinds of things I pay my taxes for. And so do you. And when I pay my taxes, it goes to everybody. It doesn't just go to Christians or Buddhists. It goes to everybody. And that new idea, that new way of being, that we're all in this together. We all have different points of view. Every one of us has a different point of view. but we need to support each other. We need to do nice things for each other. We need to have some love and some compassion. They asked Christ once, he says, why do we have to love our enemies? And Christ said, anybody loves their friends. Everybody does that. But it takes a fairly enlightened being to love people who don't love you. We're continually drawing a larger circle to take people in that are pushing us out. I don't need to convince everybody to believe the way I believe. That would be futile. Nobody can believe what I believe. You have to work out your own salvation, and you need to do it very seriously. But you shouldn't take mine or anyone else's word for it. You need to work it out yourself. You have teachers such as myself who are here to help you in any way we can, but you need to understand that even us, when we, no matter how enlightened we are, as long as we're in the body, we only have a limited point of view. When I get out of the body and I leave this body, go into samadhi, all my points of view go away. But when I come back, here they are again. I'm still speaking the same language that I had when I was young. I don't come back and suddenly start speaking, French or Hungarian or Chinese. I come back speaking with the same situation I had before I went into samadhi, that things are different because I'm no longer tied to what tied me here before. So we do this through meditation. We stop our thoughts, just like we did a few minutes ago. We stop our thoughts. And in that moment of maybe just a few seconds of stopping your thoughts, the egoic structure starts to dissolve a little bit and you become more and more aware of your spiritual nature. And that's a very important thing to know, is your spiritual nature. It's what you take with you. It's where you came from. It's who you are. You're not who you think you are, which whatever incarnation you're having this time, whether it's a man or a woman or whatever ethnic background you have. That's not who you are. That's just how you're experiencing it in this life. You haven't always been a man or a woman. You've been all kinds of things. You haven't always been a Christian or a Buddhist. You've been all of these things in other lives and many other things too. We've tried to express our spiritual nature in every incarnation, and sometimes we do it better than others. But we have found out over the years and over the various incarnations that when you're coming into a time of great transition, of great change, that's the most exciting time to incarnate. So we chose to incarnate for this time right now. This is why we're here. And this is our moment to stand up and show what we're made of. While others are out there pushing other people that don't believe like they are, that have different colored skin or different religions or different politics, or he's a Democrat, no, he's a Republican, all of this stuff. Instead of getting caught up in all of that and finger pointing and making fun of and having all of that self-righteous judgment that's just so awful. In the Bible it says, your self-righteousness is as filthy rags to the nostrils of God. Filthy rags are pretty bad. They're soured, stink, really stink. You certainly don't want them on you. And when you rub them on you, they leave their smell. Self-righteousness is as filthy rags to your higher spiritual nature. Who are you to judge anyone? When you remove all of your anger, when you remove all of your judgment about other people as being so horrible and everything, I think you'll find it when you're making these judgments, if you really look at it, what you're accusing other people of doing, you're very guilty of yourself. And that's a hard one to see sometimes. But self-discovery is sometimes a little hard that way. It's as if we're always having to look at that part of us that we don't want to see. We want to look at it in other people and blame them and be a victim and say, it's not my fault. It's, my Uncle Harry who molested me, or it's whoever, whatever, my mother or my parents or whatever. You can blame anything you want, but that's nothing, because you are spirit. And those were just teachers trying to give you an experience to become a little stronger, maybe develop a little bit more compassion, to forgive people. It doesn't do you any good to hold anger or hatred in your heart. It's no good. It doesn't do you any good to hold all of the guilt and shame. Oh my gosh, we've all done things, haven't we? We've all done terrible, terrible things. I have. I look back on my life now and I see things that I did earlier. And I go, oh, but at the time I was ignorant. I didn't know better. I was exploring different ideas that had been presented to me. And I made a lot of mistakes. But all of that brought me here. And you'll be here too. Just don't judge yourself with all of that self-righteous judgment. We do it to ourselves too. So, okay. I forgive you. Now I want you to forgive yourself. And if I've done anything to harm you, please forgive me. Good. Everybody's fallen short. No one's made it through this life. You don't dive into the pigsty, doing a belly flop into the pigsty and get out clean. You have to clean yourself. You have to redeem yourself. You have to do things to wash all of that pig slime off of you. To stand up and get out of the pigsty. To go back home. You're an eternal being. You've always been, you always will be. And the reason we know that is because you are created by the divine creator in his or her or its own image. And its own image is infinite. So you're infinite. Well, you don't look that way and you don't feel it. Well, that's because you're in this dream here. And it is a dream. It's very captivating, for sure. But it's still a dream. And so if you'll take my advice, which some of you might, hopefully, would be nice. I would like for you to forgive yourself. Forgive your parents. Forgive your friends. Forgive all of those people who embarrassed and hurt you, injured you. To forgive everybody. Just take all of that anger and hatred and resentment and fear, doubt, and just let it go. They asked Christ, how many times should I forgive somebody? 7 times? Should I forgive somebody 7 times? If they don't do it after that, write them off? And Christ says, no, you need to forgive them 70 times 7. Forgive everybody. It's not worth it. It's not worth hanging on to that resentment. Hating someone else is hating God. It's hating your divine spirit, because there is only one divine spirit manifesting in everyone and in everything. And so if I hate you, I'm hating that part of God that's expressing as you. So in a sense, I'm hating God. And where's that going to get me? What's that going to do for me? When you move into the upper levels of enlightenment, enlightenment is not, like this. It's more of a coming from this tight egoic point of view here, and just kind of goes out in concentric circles. The more you become dissolved out here, the more your consciousness becomes expansive. You start taking in more of the world. Open your heart. Just open your heart. It's an experience. Most of the things that happen with me, by the way, between the words. I've been doing this for a very long time. So during this time of great upheaval, when many of you don't know what's going to happen, you may have lost your job, you may be looking at how am I going to pay my rent, what's going to happen when we do go back, when everything happens, your mind is full of all of these questions, all of these concerns. I understand. And it makes it kind of tough during this time of sequester, where you're at home alone, or maybe just with your immediate family, but you're in your house and you're contemplating your mortality. So that's the gift of this time. That's the gift of this plague, that is providing us all an opportunity to sit and contemplate our mortality. And to come to realize that we're just here for a little while, but who we are inside, is of spirit, and spirit cannot die. It changes form. As our consciousness changes, we change. And we step into these little 6-windowed houses we call a body, our 5 senses and our mental capacity. And we view the whole world through our limitations. But then, when you wake up, you're set free. This is a time, during this time of sequester, when you're at home, looking at your mortality, facing all the fears that you're facing. Where am I going to be? Am I going to pay my rent? What's going to happen? Am I going to get a job? And what's going to, where your mind goes crazy over this stuff. This is the time to pray for forgiveness. Forgiveness for yourself and forgiveness for others. We're just here for a few short decades. I want to say that we never really save anybody's life here. Lives cannot be saved. They can be extended. But everybody dies. You will die. And when it comes time, you'll face that curtain alone. There may be people around you when you're dying, and that's always kind of nice. And there may be some souls on the other side waiting for you. That could be. But you're going to walk through by yourself. Just like you have 1,000 times before. Throughout eternity, you will be exploring this infinite creation. That's a lot of exploration. It's a lot of experiences. It's a lot of different levels of awareness. You're going to be doing that just as you have since the beginning of time. I worship God. My God has certain qualities. My God is omniscient. There is nothing that is not known to the infinite mind. My God is omnipotent, all powerful, manifesting in many, many different ways, but it's just one power. It can only be one power. It's omnipotent. And it's omnipresent, everywhere present. There's no place it's not. When you say it's the hand of God, it's a metaphor because there is no end to the finger. God is everywhere. There's no place that enlightenment is not. It is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. And we're that. We have taken our soul's energy into this level of expression called the body. And we're given complete amnesia. So the only thing that we work with is the innate power and the things that we have worked through in previous lives. Let's work through this one. This is a great opportunity for us. This is a wonderful opportunity for us. But I suggest that you take this time of sequester and you contemplate yourself. You contemplate your life. Contemplate your spiritual nature. What does it mean to have an idea of the divine that is everywhere present? Name me one place it's not. And you say, well, it's not in these people, I don't know, killing small animals or something, which I find very despicable. It's a low use of divine energy. And souls who do that are acting out of ignorance. They don't know any better. If they knew better, they certainly wouldn't be doing it. I can tell you that. Because if you know that, you know the karma of it. But when you don't know the karma, when you're acting out of ignorance, you're usually acting out of fear or some sort of anger or wrongfulness that had been done to you earlier, and now you're taking it out on the which is to say that I don't approve of everything that people do, even though it's all God. But I also know that that's God acting out of ignorance, and I am part of God. That's part of God. So my job, when I see ignorance manifesting in cruelty, then it's my job to try to alleviate that ignorance, to try to make people aware of the consequences of their actions and their attitudes. And I'm doing that now, this evening, when I'm talking to you about your angers, when I'm talking to you about how you fear the divine. All right, I see. I think I've talked enough now. Okay, I'm going to try this. Something I learned in India. I'm going to, if your heart's open and if you're willing, okay, I'm going to send you a little message of awakening. Just a little thing that I'm going to transmit to you. Okay? And for this, we need to just stop our thoughts. I would like for you to focus in this direction here. That's good. I'm going to give it to you in just a second. Take a breath. All right. So this week, I would like for you to meditate every day. And if you're starting, just think of your heart. Think of God. Think of an enlightened teacher or a master that you trust. It could be Christ, it could be Sai Baba, it could be Ramakrishna, it could be in and out of the body. There are all kinds of enlightened teachers. Which one tunes you into the divine spirit? Which one works for you? Tune into that. Maybe remember this meditation. And then let go into spirit. It's a tough time. If any of you, even if you're not my students, if you would like to contact me, ask me a question or something, I'm available. You can usually get me on Messenger, on Facebook, or if you have my email address, which is shivaawakenedmind@gmail.com, you can email me. I'm here for you. That's the only thing keeping me in the body. So it's love that ties us together, right? Because God is love. Namaste.